Hello and welcome to episode 41 of the True to Life podcast. Today I'm joined by motivational entertainer, author, former student athlete, and truly so much more, Kevin Bracy. So happy to have you here. This is actually a very special episode for me because you were one of the people that was on the San Juan Unified Student podcast that I started for the school district. What was that,
Yes.
3 years ago? So now to see that come full circle, I'm still doing the podcast thing, but now on my own channel for student athletes and having honest, true conversations with my guests. So this is going to be a really fun episode. I'm super excited. And also, we're going to get to touch more on your student athlete side as well as the motivational entertaining and the work you do. So let's dive right into it and let's
Hey,
start talking about some baseball.
before you go, champ, let me just make sure that I turn my notifications off, please. One
No, of
second.
course.
I should have did this before, but hey, this is live, so let's keep it.
It's all good. It's
Give
true
me
to life. We're all about being
one.
authentic and true. Man,
Yes,
there's no
sir.
no edits here, so it's all good.
Absolutely. There we go.
Awesome. Yeah. So talk to me a baseball journey. I know you ARC you played at Mesa Verde. So yeah, please take us down the road.
Yeah, man. Born and raised in Sacramento. My dream was always baseball was my dream. I didn't see a plan B. I didn't want anybody talking to me about a plan B. Don't talk to me about a plan B. Who wants to do a plan B? I want my plan A.
Yep.
And my plan A was baseball, man. And after Mesa Verde, I got a baseball scholarship first to the University of Pacific, but I didn't score high enough on my SATs, not because I couldn't have done better, but because I'd already talked myself out of my educational greatness before I even took the test. So I
Mm,
literally talked myself out of being successful on that, and I was successfully failed.
mm.
If I didn't score high enough on the SAT because I knew I wouldn't. So I ended up taking a detour to American River College. ARC redshirted my first year. That was tough. It was tough to take that redshirt year, knowing that I'd gotten a baseball scholarship to the University of Pacific, and I felt like that was a D1 school, and then now I'm going to a community college, so
Yeah.
I felt like it was lesser than in my head. It wasn't because the players were better at ARC, but I thought I was going to a lesser than situation, and then I had to redshirt. So I'm like all in my head at that point. So I redshirted, and then after 3 years, I ended up coming back. After 3 years at American River College, played 2 of those years, ended up graduating with my associate arts degree, getting a baseball scholarship to the University of Utah, headed up to Salt Lake City, Utah for a couple of years and had a ball. No regrets, man.
I
Went
love
there
it.
for 2 years, graduated with a sociology degree and a criminal justice certificate. And from there, I never got that call to play at the professional level like I thought I would right after graduating from college. But 3, 4, maybe 5 months later, I ended up getting picked up by an independent professional team due to the relationships that I had with my coaches along the way. They knew that if they got me an opportunity to play, that they knew that they could count on my effort. They could count on that I was going to show up on time, I was going to be in shape, and I wasn't going to embarrass them for recommending me. So I ended up going to Canada and playing 2 years of independent pro ball in Canada. And from there, I found my passion and found my love, which is what I do today.
I love it. A couple things I wanted to touch on there. Number one, the coaching relationships, the coaches that you met along the way. Who stands out for you?
Well, there's a couple that stand out, but for the sake of just what I just mentioned, Coach Higgins, which was my
Mm,
coach at American River College, he was one of those coaches that he was intimidating in stature. He always wore glasses. You could never see his eyes. He put his pencil up in his hat, put his hat down low. He was a big guy, and he didn't show much emotion. So I was a little bit like playing scared for a lot of years, like not wanting to make a mistake. And you can't play ball like that.
never. It's
That
not going to
wasn't on
work.
him. That was on me. But he saw me show up early, stay late, work hard. Never was the greatest talent, but outworked everybody. And that stuck with him when it was time for me to try to find a team after playing at the University of Utah. And he's the guy that sticks out to me in terms of someone that got me a shot. My high
Absolutely.
school coach, Coach Barney from Mesa Verde High School, what he did for me is he always believed in me. He always gave me more credit than I think I deserved. I wasn't as fast as he said I was. I wasn't as good as he said I was, but he pumped me up, man. So I needed that during those times. So I appreciate Coach Barney as well.
Absolutely. And with those relationships all playing a huge part in your journey as a student athlete. So when you
Yeah.
reflect, obviously you've done the work when you look back at your student athlete career. What do you
Yeah.
like, what's your advice, and what would you, try to shed light on of what you could have done differently, or things that if you would have gone another way, that things could have been better. You mentioned the SAT, ACT, like some of the
Yeah.
grade stuff. Is there anything else that you
Yeah.
could touch on for our student athletes listening?
Yeah, it's hard, man, because I'll say this, because one of the toughest things for athletes to do is to someone that who has been maybe great in high school or great at the little league level, and then when you get to the next level, you end up not being a starter.
Making that jump. Yeah.
That was hard for me because when I got from Mesa Verde being a second baseman, batting 444, all league, optimist game, all of that, and then you end up at UOP, you're supposed to go to UOP, and then you end up at ARC. Next thing you know, you're redshirting. And then after that redshirt year, I'm thinking, oh, I know I'm starting my freshman, my first eligible year to play after my redshirt year. And I did not start. I was literally sitting the bench, man. And that was hard. So
Mm,
the advice that I would give to somebody who's not starting, I don't have any advice for the starters. They're balling, keep balling, right? But for those who aren't starting, but who know they have talent, you cannot give up. Because when I wasn't starting, I wanted to quit. I was like, man, I'm going somewhere else. You got the portal and everything, and I'm going somewhere else. But you got to work your ass off to get yourself back into the lineup in some kind of way. And what I did was, instead of, I was working hard, but I was also pouting because I wasn't playing. It
mm,
was a me type situation. If you're not in the starting lineup, you got to be the person that's always encouraging the other players. You got to be the hardest worker at practice. You got to give the coach a reason to put you in the game, a reason to count on you. And it may not be when you want it to happen. You hear it all the time. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. I'm so sick of that. But I'm so sick of hearing it, but there's fact in that. Always stay ready, because when your number is called, you want, whether baseball, basketball, football, whatever it might be, you got to be ready when your number is called. I
mm.
was so mentally screwed up because I wasn't starting, that when my number was called, I was pressing, trying so hard to make it happen, not allowing my muscle memory to do what it does. You can't hold, I keep one next to me, man. You
I love.
can't hold a bat tight and still take off on a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. You gotta be relaxed. But because I was so uptight in my head, when my number did get called, sometimes I didn't perform at that level. So you gotta practice like you would, like it's a game, especially if you're not somebody that's not starting. So when your number is called in the game, you've been practicing like that every day. So you're ready when your number is called. You got to keep a good attitude. You got to outwork everybody to break through and get in that lineup. Now, if I'd have quit at AR, I would have never gotten the scholarship to the University of Utah. That is the key. You have to stay focused, and it can't just be about you, even though you feel like it is, because you got a future and you're the key to that future. If you're not starting, good attitude, outwork everybody, and be ready when your number is called. And the way you do that, it comes out in how you practice every day. Practice like it's a championship game.
I mean, just you even saying that, was my lived experience throughout the course of this year at Dominican. Yeah. I mean, I do want to tell you, because I'm not sure if you'd be aware. I mean, I've talked about
Yeah.
it a little bit on the show, but I do want to. It's exactly what you're talking about. We started the season with 17 guys. I was not guaranteed any minutes or any playing time coming in, and I kind of knew the deal. I knew it was going to be an uphill battle, as it always is for in my playing career. Uh, there was a stretch of the season where we had 7 or 8 guys suited up. That was my chance. So I got my first college minutes, first college buckets this year. It was amazing, a surreal experience. Didn't when it all actually came to be, but it all did come down to the being ready. I didn't miss a single weight session, single practice session, film, anything. I didn't miss any of it. I was there at everything, and I believe
Mhm.
that is what opened the door. It's going to be a whole nother chapter that coming into this next year, because obviously a whole new recruiting class. So, I'm basically back down where I was. Going to have to work it up again. But for me, that's part of the joy. It's what it's always been the case for me. So it doesn't really change how
Right.
I'm going to approach the offseason, how I'm going to approach next year. But just what you said about, you have to, those practices are so important, because everyone has the same
Yeah,
opportunity in practice. Not everyone may have the same opportunity in the game, but we all have the same opportunity in practice in the same amount of time every single practice session. So I'm really glad you shared that.
absolutely. And I know we're talking about it and it sounds easy, but to me, it's a consciousness. You got to be aware. I got practice today. You got to get your energy right, get your water, get your food so that you have the energy to go all out. Coaches see that. You don't even have to look at them all the time. You know how when you're not playing, you're looking to say, is he watching or is she watching? You got to just ball and just let the chips fall where they may and just never give up because you never know.
Absolutely. I wanted to focus on some time today in our conversation to just talk about greatness, because obviously that is what it's been at the center of a lot of what you do. So how do you make greatness your standard in everything that you do? People that want to work towards being, and obviously greatness is subjective, because everyone, like you've shared, has their own version of it. So how can people begin to harness their greatness?
Where it came from for me was there's a speaker out here. He's a legend. He's a legendary speaker. He's the to me, he's the Michael Jordan of the industry. He's definitely the Jackie Robinson of the speaking industry for me. He was the first African-American male who I saw, excuse me, stand up in front of an audience and give and deliver a message as a motivational speaker. And he wasn't a preacher. He wasn't a rapper. He wasn't a comedian. He wasn't a singer. He was a black man up there speaking to people to motivate them. That was why he was there. I never knew that career even existed. And once I started listening to his podcasts, his audio, his audio programs, his podcast, he was talking about greatness. And then when I met him, he was the first individual to ever point at me and say, "You have greatness in you."
That's
I've never heard
powerful.
that. But he pointed at me with his hand. He goes, "You have greatness in you." And it hit me, man. It was like, man, that is so powerful. Now, people say, "Oh, you're so kind," or "You're so smart," or "You're so talented." You have greatness in you. Hit different for me.
That's powerful.
So, you know what I mean? And so I started, just looking at what is greatness. And I thought until the moment that he said that greatness was only reserved for athletes. It's only reserved for the Candace Parkers who just retired, the Candace Parkers of the world, or the Tom Brady's of the world, or the LeBron Jameses of the world. I thought it was only about athletics. But then I said to myself, it doesn't have, this is just in my own head, this doesn't just have to be a word for athletes. People who aren't athletes need to have access to the word greatness as well. So I came up with definitions that of what greatness is to me, and I teach them every day. Greatness to me, first of all, it's the choice. Les Brown taught me that. And when he says it's a choice, that just means it's a consciousness. Like, and I'm sure you've seen these videos. Like if you were to ask somebody, how many of you have a dream? And then they raise their hand like this, and then you say, raise your hand higher if you have a passion for your dream. And then people do that and they go, right. And they go, why didn't you give your best effort first time? Right. The difference is if you ask me a question in subconscious, yeah, I got a dream. But when you consciously said, raise your hand higher if you have a passion for your dream, now consciousness kicks in. Now there's effort. To me, greatness is consciousness. What is that consciousness? The consciousness is whatever I'm doing in my life, number one definition of greatness is I'm going to give my very best effort. Effort is number one. That's a choice, though. That's a consciousness. I'm going to run these line drills. Am I going to go hard, or I'm just going to do what I'm just going to kind of chill? It's a consciousness. Greatness is best effort. Greatness goes hand in hand with best focus. When I give my best effort and my best focus to the task at hand, no matter what that task is, that's greatness to me. Third definition, greatness is when I choose to be the best version of me. That's how I treat people within my wingspan, how I treat people online, how I treat people in my space. Do I build people up or do I tear them down? Greatness is the best version of us. I'm at a stoplight. I'm about to eat a Subway sandwich. It's on my lap while I'm driving, which I shouldn't be doing anyway. But I'm starving and I got to eat something. And there's a man or a woman right there that has a dog and a sign that needs that sandwich more than me because I can go buy another one. Greatness is when you're, without thinking in this moment, where you take half of that sandwich and you say, here you go, sir, or here you go, ma'am. That's the best version of humanity, in my opinion. That's greatness. And the fourth definition of greatness is the mindset that I can always do better today than yesterday. Better today than yesterday. Better today than yesterday. No matter what, better today than yesterday. I'm gonna be better today. It's a mindset. And lastly, greatness is when we find what we do best.
Mm.
That crease in life where this is what, when I'm in front of an audience with TK through sixth graders and I'm giving them these that's what I do best. I found that crease. So greatness to me, it's a consciousness, right? I'm going to raise my hand high because I'm going to give my best effort. It's best effort. It's best focus. It's best version of you and me. It's the mindset that I can do better today than yesterday. And it's the journey to find what we do best. Those are definitions of greatness that I believe anybody in the world can connect with. You don't have to be able to shoot a basket, hit a baseball, catch a football, or throw a football, or kick a soccer ball, or whatever the case may be. It's best effort in class. Best focus when I'm folding clothes at home or I'm doing the dishes. Best effort, best focus, best version of you and me. Better your best mentality and find what we do best. That's greatness to me.
Mm. Amazing. I like how it's simplified into the five as well, right into the palm of your hand. I mean,
Yes,
it's
sir.
attainable for anyone to go and grab it, like metaphorically speaking.
Exactly.
I think that that's magnificent. If
Absolutely.
there's a one, if you can, if you have it, if there's one call to action for people to make their day more positive, what would it be? Just like kind of a
It would
blanket
be
idea.
for the, and this is for every day. This is for everybody, and nobody has this mastered, right? It's being aware of your thoughts. The moment you catch a negative thought that you have about you, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm so ugly, this doesn't happen for me, I don't have any good luck. All of those things are negative thoughts. When your mind goes negative,
Mouth goes positive.
your mouth goes positive.
You know what? You dropped this quote, and I was listening to our episode this morning just to brush up on it, and I'm glad you said it again because that's like it also goes into mental performance coaching too. I mean, this is kind of the basic idea that they'll be teaching you, or what you can learn through mental coaching is that you can overpower, not overpower, but just learn to work with those thoughts.
Absolutely. You can work with them and you can override them, but you have to speak. It's like when your mind goes negative silently, because our minds don't go negative out loud most of the time, but sometimes they do. But when your mind goes negative silently, your mouth goes positive out loud. When your mind says, man, I don't know if I can do it, your mouth says, I can do it. I will do it. I'm not even listening to my brain right now. I got greatness in me and I'm going to make it happen. Your mind goes, man, you don't even matter, man. No, no, no. I do matter. I'm special. There's nobody in the world just like me. You have to talk yourself. Ali said, I'm the greatest. Muhammad, the late great Muhammad Ali. Those who don't know, please look him up. Muhammad Ali is known as the greatest boxer of all time. But Nanik, he's lost 5 fights. How can he be the greatest when he lost 5 fights? That's supposed to be Floyd Mayweather, who's 50-0. But what Ali did was he was talking himself into greatness, but he happened to be doing it in interviews. So as he was talking himself into greatness, everybody else that's watching, he talked us into it too. He would say, I'm the greatest. Who told him he was the greatest? He did. He
Mm.
said, I'm pretty. Who told him he was pretty? He did. He said, I'm a bad man. He said, I shook up the world. He said, I float like a butterfly and
Sting like a bee.
sting like a bee. He said, I must be the greatest. He said, last night I had a dream. In Africa, I had one hell of a rumble. I had to whoop Tarzan's behind first for claiming to be the king of the jungle. For this fight, I've wrestled with alligators. I've tussled with a whale. I done handcuff lightning and throw thunder in jail. You know I'm bad. I've murdered a rock. I've injured a stone. I've hospitalized a brick. He said, I'm so mean, I make medicine sick. I'm so fast, man, I can run through a hurricane and don't get wet. When George Foreman meets me, he's going to pay his debt. I can drown a drink of water or kill a dead tree. Wait until you see. Muhammad Ali, he talked himself into greatness. When
Mm.
his mind went negative, his mouth went positive over and over and over and over. And what that does is builds your self-esteem, build your self-confidence, build your self-image to feel like you can do anything you put your mind and your heart to do. But it's a focus and a consciousness. Mind goes negative, mouth
Mouth
goes
goes
positive.
positive. Mm. Just wanted to allow some time to let that sink in. Wow. Um, I think that the next thing, and you're also talking about it a little bit here with mind goes negative, mouth goes positive, also feeding into some of that confidence. How closely do you feel like confidence and greatness are tied together?
I think they are. I think they are, but I also believe that, see, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started if you want to be great. So just because you don't have, when I first started, I'm not great. When I first started speaking, I wasn't great, but I didn't have to be great to get started. But if I wanted to be great, I was going to have to start. So even though you may not have confidence when you're talking yourself into greatness at first, to me, just the fact that you're catching your negative thoughts and trying to speak positive, to me, that's greatness. You're moving in the direction. So as you do it, as you get better, the confidence builds. Just because you're not confident at the beginning doesn't mean you don't have greatness in you. I believe it's in all of us. But what we have to do is activate it by being more conscious, which starting with our thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Confidence and greatness to me do go hand in
Yeah.
hand. But just because you're not confident yet doesn't mean you don't have greatness in you. Use that consciousness to build that confidence.
Mm, that's perfect. See, and that was a question that I've been kind of toying around with too, which is partly why I wanted to ask. And it's one of my favorite parts about doing this show is because I kind of get the questions that I've been wondering asked through the
Yeah.
guests. So, I mean, yeah, that's amazing. What is the best piece of advice or a lesson that you learned from someone else?
It's back to the mindset. Do not give mental repetitions to the possibility of failure, doubt, or defeat. I'm going to say it again. Do not give mental repetitions. I think I might fail. I'm not sure if I'm good enough. I'm doubting myself. What if I get defeated? What if I lose? What if I don't pass the test? What if I don't get the job? What if I fail at the business? I'm giving mental repetitions
Those are
to
downward
failure.
spirals. Yeah.
Yes. Do not give mental repetitions to the possibility. Now, I'm not saying you're not going to be human and think those thoughts. We're human. But when you think them, it's back to the message. When you catch yourself, I'm not, you got to open up your mouth and speak what you want to happen, not what you don't want to happen. My mentor used to say, speak what you want to happen. So I started this business and it was a multi-level marketing business. And I was young and I was hustling, man. He knew he found a diamond in the rough. And I would go to him and I would show him my business. I'd go, Ken, I got these legs working and this business is working. And I got this business. I'm down in Bakersfield. I got this part of my business where I'm over. And I would say, but it's not going fast enough. He would go, Kevin, speak what you want, not what you don't want. I go, I get that. But look, this is where I'm working. And this leg right here, they won't call me back and they're not doing the things that I'm asking. He goes, speak what you want, not what you don't want. I go, I understand that, but and it took me some time I could have said the exact same things I was saying to him based upon and speaking it how I wanted it to happen rather than how it was really happening. Does that make sense?
Mm.
I could have given him the same, like, okay, kid, I know these legs right here, they're not growing yet, but what would you get? What would you tell me? What can I do to ignite these people in this part of my organization? Same question, but I'm just asking it and speaking it in a different way. So the best advice I've ever been given is do not give mental repetitions to the possibility of failure, doubt, or defeat. When your mind goes negative, your mouth goes positive, and it's all connected, I believe. Success, greatness, whatever we want in life, it starts right here, man. It is all in how we program our thinking and how we see ourselves. When we see ourselves as more than what we are, that's dreaming, man. I'm a dreamer. I live in my dream every day. Every time I'm in front of students, I spoke this stuff into existence. I'm not special, maybe in the eyes of God, maybe in the eyes of my family, but I'm just like anybody else. But I had a dream, and I was not going to let anybody deter me. Why? Because I was not going to give mental repetitions to the possibility of failure, doubt, or defeat. But that was a learned behavior. I didn't learn this stuff until I was 25.
I think the ability to have awareness and redirect your thoughts, like you said, it's a daily, everyday process. Hearing these things can obviously be it can be a lot. I mean, I know when I hear new information for the first time, I oftentimes feel really overloaded, and it's like, whoa, I'm just jumping right in. But I think what you're saying, and I think it's perfect because it's not gonna be perfect. It's not gonna be perfect every single day. I mean, it's
Nobody has it. Nobody has it.
yeah,
Nobody has it all down. And this, Nanik, sorry, you got to
Nanik,
make sure not
Nanik.
you, but us. We got to listen, re-listen. They got to listen to this podcast, re-listen, 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 re-listen. Because every time you re-listen, you're going to get something different because you're growing and you're seeing things differently. If you listen to this podcast or watch it now, and then you listen to it a month from now, you're going to hear something totally different. If you
Hmm.
hear it a month from now, you're going to hear something totally different. So even though you might be overwhelmed or get overwhelmed by new knowledge, if you are patient and you're able to listen and re-listen and re-listen and re-listen, now you're programming yourself for greatness. It's a programming process. The more we listen and re-listen, the more we'll understand it and get it, and it'll stick.
Absolutely, every single day. So I want to pivot back to student athletes here before we, bring this episode to a close. So what would be some words to student athletes that are struggling to take that leap of faith or that risk? What is your advice to them?
I'm going to say it like this, just based upon how I understand the question. Whatever game you're playing, whatever sport you're playing, play as long as you can. Just as long as your body is able to play. I don't care whether you're starting or a star. I don't care. Play as long as, trust me on this, Nanik. I'm 50. I just turned 52. There's nothing about me that feels 52. There's nothing except for my age, but there's nothing about me in my space, spirit, energy that feels 52. But I am, and I'm living my dream. So I can look back as a former collegiate athlete and professional athlete. I could look back, and the advice that I'm sharing is not just, I'm just talking and I want to hear myself speak and I'm an old head. Nah, somebody who's lived it, who goes for walks during the day, at night with my wife or by myself. And I sit back just a couple of days ago and relived some of my moments at ARC, relived some of my moments at the University of Utah, relived some of my moments playing pro ball in Canada. I played as long as I could. And the feeling that I have at 52, being married to my one wife for it'll be 26 years in September. I got a son and a daughter. I got another son that's in heaven. When I look back at my family and my life, and I look back at my baseball career, I'm so grateful that I played
Mm,
as long, because one day you're not going to be able to play physically, age wise, you're not going to be able to play. So ride that wave as long as you can. You can do business and whatever. You can do that later. Play the game as long as you possibly can. If you're starting a business, or do it with, in conjunction with playing. Don't give up the ball, the bat, the glove, or whatever sport, whatever you use. Don't give that up until you have to. I'm not saying everybody's going to the big leagues, the NFL. I'm not saying that. Play as long as you can, because that camaraderie and that the people that are in my life today, my closest ones, are ones that I balled with. Ones that I balled with. They're brothers and sisters for life. Even the softball players at University of Utah, Amy Timmel, who's the head coach of the University of Utah softball team right now, we talk. There's a connection and a camaraderie that you can't get anywhere else than you can get as an athlete. Play as
mm,
long as you can. Take whatever risk you got to take. Play the game. D1, D2, Ivy League, I don't care. Play the game.
mm. I know I definitely needed to hear that, so that definitely hits on for me. Especially we talked about it a little bit before we started, kind of being in that middle ground. Play it for as long as you
Because
can.
you're great, Nanik. You're a great young man, and you're great now, and you're going to be great in whatever you do. So
Thank
it
you.
don't matter when you start. You're a winner, bro. And I'm not just talking, I'm not just trying to gas you up. You've been a winner since high school. You're somebody that, as a dad, that I want my son to model after. That everybody don't get that. You have something special. So no matter what you do, no matter when you start, you're going to be a success story. You're going to be a multi-millionaire doing what you love to do. So I know you have some fears, and I know you probably have some doubts, because you're a human being. I'm telling you, not because I'm so special. I've just seen a lot. You have the it factor. So it doesn't matter when you start your life, real life, after sports. Play ball as long as you can, and whatever success you want is going to be there because you're going to make it happen.
Mm, thank you. I did want to correct you just so you know it's no, it's pronounced Nanik. I know it's a little bit tricky.
I'm
Nanik.
sorry.
No,
I'm
I know.
sorry. Nanik,
I
that's
know
right.
you'll appreciate it if I corrected you.
Yeah,
I don't want to
yes,
interrupt when you're
Nanik.
talking though. Thank you.
Yep, Nanik. I
Um,
got it.
so motivational speaking for you, motivational entertaining for you has been described as your heaven on earth. What is your number one favorite part about motivational speaking? You may have already touched on it, but if you could just put it in, a sentence or two, what would that be?
It's the energy I get, the energy that I get to give, and the energy that I gratefully receive from my audiences. I get to give them the best of Kevin Bracy is when I'm in front of the room or in front of a camera and I'm delivering a message. I get to give that to people as a gift. That's my gift, my energy. But then I also gratefully get to receive it back
Wow.
from my audience. And that's it's special, man. It's special. It's something that you can't describe. I can't get it anywhere else in the world. The juice of sport, right? The juice of sport is hard to replace. But I'm one of the lucky ones, one of the blessed ones, because I found something that literally has usurped the energy that I used to give in sport. I get to give it, and give it every day in front of an audience.
Oh, that's very special. I mean, you touched on so many great things today. Thank you so much. Before we get out of here, I want to hit you with a couple of rapid fire questions. It's how I close out the episodes. Are
Yeah,
you more productive in the morning or at nighttime?
nighttime,
Nighttime. Are you the type to be spontaneous or are you more of a planner?
spontaneous.
That is something I'm working on. So I salute you for it.
I plan
And
too, though. I plan too, but it's more spot. I'm like, I got ADD with a hell of D's.
that's funny. Um, and if there's one moment in your baseball career that you could relive, like what's the first thing that comes to mind?
The I broke my thumb my senior year. 5 weeks later, my first at bat, second pitch, I hit a home run coming back off of injury.
Mm, amazing.
Crazy.
I know you have so many great things to share. Do you have one final message for us, for the listeners out there listening, for me, for anyone that's going to hear this and see this? What is a final closing thought for you?
No matter what you've gone through, no matter what you've gone through, no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're going to go through, you're special and there's greatness in you. And no matter what happens in your life, it does not take away from your intelligence. It does not take away from your drive. It does not take away from your greatness. It does not take that stuff away. It may hurt. You may cry. You may not like it, but nothing that happens to you negatively takes away from the magic that you are, the greatness that you are, the unlimited potential that you carry. Right now, as you're listening to these words, we all have stuff. If I went through all the stuff that I had to go through to get to this point in my life, you'd be like, you made it through that? Yeah. And none of that took away from the magic that I get to give and give from my audiences today. So chase your wildest dreams. Don't settle. I live mine every day. Chase your, I don't want to, you don't want to be on TV. No, I don't want to be on TV. You don't want to be around the world. No, I don't want to be around the world. I want to make the difference that I'm making right now in my community. That's my dream. I'm living it every day. So I'm not just saying chase your dreams because it's cute. This is what I tell my kids: chase your wildest dreams, because getting up and going to a job every day that you don't like, I don't even know what that's like,
Hmm.
but I would hate to find out what it's like. I get to get up and do what I love. So I'm going to stay on that side, find what you love, and chase your wildest dreams, and don't settle until you get what you want out of life.
Mm. We'll leave it right there, Kevin. Thank you so much. Everything for KB, yeah, put the Bryce up. You see us on
Let's
camera.
go, baby.
Everything about Kevin's going to be available in the description. You can see some of his videos and things he's a part of. Thank you so much for joining this episode today. I've had an amazing time again. Thank you so much. People listening, if you have any comments or anything from this episode, please reach out to True to Life Podcast or me at Nanik Tagore. I'd love to hear from you as I continue to bring more episodes this summer. Thank you so much, and we'll talk soon.